Hello, nonprofit leaders. I'm Sarah Olivieri, your host, and this podcast is here to assist people like you, executive directors, board members, and other nonprofit leaders make a bigger impact with insights, tips, and lessons learned from nonprofit leaders and experts. Having been an executive director, a board member, and now a consultant and coach, I truly understand the challenges you face. And that's why I'm here. I'm all about working smarter, not harder, so you can make a bigger impact without the burnout. And so is our sponsor, DonorBox. DonorBox isn't just a suite of helpful fundraising tools, it's a partner that helps you raise more money and supports you in retaining your donors. I love their forward-thinking approach. Visit donorbox.org to learn more. And don't forget to sign up for the Inspired Nonprofit Leadership newsletter, where you'll get bite-sized, actionable tips just for nonprofit leaders like you, delivered weekly to your inbox. Sign up at inspirednonprofitleadership.com/sign up. Okay, let's dive into today's episode. Today, we are going to be talking about burnout. It's such a big issue at nonprofits. If you are worried that you might be burning out, stick around for just a few minutes and I'm going to give you some of my top tips to recognize, avoid, and banish the burnout forever. Actually, not forever. That's probably tip number one, is that burnout can be part of growing any organization or business. And it's important to recognize it and prevent it as much as possible, but know that it can be part of the journey. Sometimes we just don't want it to go on and on. So how do we know if we're burnt out? I'm guessing you probably know this already. It looks like getting distracted easily. It looks like our efficiency going down. It looks like getting sucked into whatever, scrolling on social media. It feels like not really wanting to do your work. Instead of sprinting along with bouncy shoes, you're like trudging through the mud. You and your team might be going, ugh. You might be hearing yourself say, I'm tired. You might be hearing your family say, why are you working all the time? You might hear yourself say, I feel like I'm working all the time, right? These are all signs of burnout. Burnout happens when we do a lot, but it is not indicative of producing a lot. It's usually doing too much of the wrong things that leads us to burnout. So the first thing we need to do if we're burned out is to strip our to-do lists and clear our calendars. I had a client recently who was really burnt out when she came to me. She was in tears over it, very stressful time. So what did we do? We started by opening up her calendar and we just moved everything that could be moved. You might have things on your to-do list or in your calendar that feel like hard deadlines, but I want you to ask yourself, is that really a hard deadline? What happens if I push it? Nothing, not really that big of a deal. Maybe you're the one putting all the pressure on yourself to get that stuff done. Move it down the line. What happens if I don't do it at all? What if I just put it in the fireproof garbage can? I got one of those over there. What if I just toss it in the fireproof garbage can and let it burn out and eat itself up and destroy itself? What if I just don't do it? Will anything bad really happen? What's the worst that can happen, right? So go to your to-do list, go to your calendar, strip it clean, get rid of everything you can. I recently had this happen for myself. I was burnt out and I had family that needed my attention. It's a busy time in a way, right before school starts. And I just pulled up my calendar. I pulled up all my projects and I said, these projects, they're going to wait. They're going to wait till later in September. They're going to wait till October. These other projects, we're just not going to do them. And then I went to my calendar and where I keep my to-do list in my calendar. Big tip for you right there. Put your to-dos in your calendar. And I got rid of them. I cleared the days. I said, I'm going to work a little on these 2 days. I'm the bare minimum because the truth is when I'm burnt out, I'm not productive. And if I keep trying to work anyway, I will stay burnt out. And the period that I'm not productive for will get longer and longer and longer. Whereas if I take everything off my calendar and I rest, I will recover and then I will be productive. And the time from being unproductive to returning to productivity will be much shorter if I clear my to-do list and rest for a bit and do something joyful and fun. Okay. My next tip I want to talk about is how to prevent burnout or reduce burnout in the future. I had a great interview the other day with Kashana Palmer. We'll be getting an episode from that interview on the Inspired Nonprofit Leadership Podcast. So if you don't subscribe to the podcast, please go ahead and do so. Or you can get the newsletter, inspirednonprofitleadership.com/sign up and get an announcement when the episode comes out. But we were talking about building great teams, preventing burnout. And we talked about organization and the importance of organizations having organization. In order to do the right things on your calendar, right? If you're feeling like I'm too busy, I've got too much on my plate, too little time, it's not probably because you have truly too much to do in order to achieve the results you want. It's probably that you are focusing your time on the wrong activities to achieve what you want. And how do we get the right things on our calendar in order to get the results? And I tell you, we can get the right things on our calendar in a reasonable amount of time, like a 9 to 5, or maybe you're a 10 to 3 kind of person, like I am. Maybe you're a 10 to 3. Sometimes I'm an 8 to 11 a.m. kind of person, and I want to do that 2 or 3 days a week. That's my peak productivity. And if I just do that, I am so productive. But if I focus on the wrong things during that time, I'm not so productive. And if I'm burnt out, I'm not so productive. So how do we get focused on the right things and then keep our calendar so it's not so grueling? Well, thinking very intentionally about what results you want to achieve. You've got to switch from a what activities do I want to do mindset to a what results do I want to achieve mindset. That is an outcome-based mindset. Once you get clear on what results, what outcomes you want to achieve, you need to decide which are the activities that I can do, that my team can do, that are the most likely to achieve that result based on the resources that we have. If you don't have the resources to do any good activities that are likely to get that result, then your outcome needs to be going and getting more resources, going and getting money, and then picking the activities that bring in the money. And then you can go back to the outcome that you need more resources to do once you have those resources. Once you've picked those activities, you're going to break them down into projects that can be completed within 2 weeks. And then every 2 weeks, you're going to look at those projects. You're going to build out that to-do list. And instead of just having the list, because it's overwhelming to look at a long list of 2 weeks worth of stuff, you're going to take that list of stuff to do within the 2 weeks and you're going to stick it in your calendar in a reasonable amount of time. And if it doesn't fit, you're going to redistribute. And let me tell you, when I look at my calendar for today and I complete all the tasks that I was supposed to do, I feel great. I also feel great when I reach the end of my productive working time in a day and I look at my calendar and I take the stuff that I didn't do, that I didn't get done, and I move it. I move it to a different day because I know that if I just keep trying to work on it, it's not going to be productive because I'd risk burning out. And I also know that if I keep a secret backlog list and don't move it into my calendar, that's very stressful and very unrealistic. Those are my tips for you today. If you want to be getting support doing this whole system I just described, that's what we do in the Impact Method. That's what I coach people doing in the Thrive program, where I teach the Impact Method along with provide all sorts of coaching and guidance, hand-holding, consulting, talking to boards in the Thrive program. If you want to be in the room in the Thrive program, go to pivotground.com/application. Until next time, all the best.
You've been listening to Inspired Nonprofit Leadership. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode or the bonus episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review and be sure to share with your friends and colleagues. Tune in every week for more useful insights and wisdom on nonprofit leadership. Thanks so much for all you do for the communities you serve. Until next time, all the best.